Hello and welcome. We are continuing the Formstack document automation series. Our topic today is incredibly interesting. We've titled this Agentforce plus document automation, turning AI into action. Overall theme of this series, digital transformation now, is document automation is an incredibly, practical, real world way to deliver value to your business. Create time savings for various internal teams, create better customer experiences for your customers, and generally accelerate, the pace of your business. What an amazing thing to pair with AI. The pairing of AI strategies with document automation is fascinating, is interesting. And we've got two absolute subject experts from Formstack partner 10K on with us today to dive into this. We have Matt Vadzinkis. Please correct me if I got that wrong. It's a tough one, Matt. Chief Strategy Officer of 10K. And we've got 10K's AI practice lead, John Receiver, who's been a long-time Formstack partner in different roles. Let's just get started by saying hello. Matt, do you want to just give a brief hello and intro of yourself to the audience?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, thanks, Zach, for having us. Hats off to Formstack for the product that you have, and we're super excited about today's topic. Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Vadzinkis. I am the Chief Strategy Officer at 10K Advisors. I've been around the Salesforce ecosystem since 2006 in all kinds of different roles, from consultant to CRM practice lead to App Exchange entrepreneur. I joined 10K about coming up on 3 years ago and have really helped to spearhead a number of different strategic initiatives. This year, our emphasis is very much around helping to drive AI transformation for enterprises, specifically around Salesforce. And with the advent of Agentforce, we are building a practice specialty around that.
Fantastic. And so much so that you're one of the first, I could think of maybe a couple, but not too many, to have a defined AI practice, and your AI practice lead, John Receiver. Hello, John.
Yeah. Hey, Zach. Thanks again for doing this. And I'm really excited to partner with Formstack in this initiative. Yeah. As Matt mentioned, we're excited to kind of leverage a lot of the AI tools out there. Obviously, Agentforce being a big part of that, and thrilled, now that as we're kind of going to market with different solutions and kind of understanding customer problems, as you mentioned from the outset, there's a great opportunity here for the tools Formstack brings to bear. So, look forward to continuing our partnership.
Yeah. So, topic of the day: turning AI into action. Matt, before we get into that, though, do you mind just giving folks who are not so familiar with 10K, it's a pretty unique story. Would love for you to share that just for context before we get into the big topic of the day. And I've pulled up a slide here to give you some background.
Yeah. So 10K is what we call an on-demand consultancy, and really what that means is we bring a highly skilled community of independent experts. We connect those experts with customer projects, and we do so in an on-demand format. So our customers engage with us really to solve business problems, and the traditional consultancy is always trying to sort of navigate the ebbs and flows of projects and their full-time consultants' availability, trying to sort of perfect things to line a project end with the next project start. We solve things a little bit differently, and our model really brings independent experts, and we have a community of over 850 of those experts worldwide. We bring those to projects, and it gives us a great ability to match the skills and experience required for the job at hand to the customer project. Availability with a community that large and capacity is not our concern and not a worry for us. We can always find a group of individuals that are highly qualified for any given project. Now, with that, we do have some specialties around high tech, professional services, healthcare, and an emerging practice around AI.
Yeah, and also very important to note, a lot of that community are experts and certified in Formstack, and provide various skills across the Formstack products. And also a fun fact about John is John's one of the earliest into what is now Forms for Salesforce. So John, longtime power user, maybe going almost eight years plus now with Formstack. Okay, topic of the day, Agentforce. Matt, let's start with you. In case anyone out there hasn't seen the Matthew McConaughey commercials, or even if they have, can you just kind of lay the groundwork for what is this Agentforce thing? Why is there so much buzz around it? And why is it sort of the thing taking over the Salesforce ecosystem right now?
Yeah, it's a really exciting time. We've all seen the emergence of large language models and chat agents like ChatGPT and Claude. Well, really, Agentforce is Salesforce's entry into the digital labor market. So Agentforce is a digital labor platform. It's really designed to help businesses get more done by really teaming human agents with AI-powered agents. And so these specialized agents in Agentforce, they work alongside your human team, and they help to handle everything from customer support workflows to sales prospecting, with the goal really being to automate tasks while keeping humans in the loop. So get more done with less headcount, less manpower. Salesforce's differentiation on this, I think, is worth calling out, because Agentforce is built on top of your CRM data. Agentforce is really uniquely positioned not just to analyze information, but it can take action inside of the CRM. We're gonna see some really cool examples of that today. And best of all, security being everyone's top of mind with AI, it does all of this securely. So Salesforce has some magic sauce at play here. So there is built-in data masking, and also they've built some impressive zero retention partnerships with the LLMs out there. So your data never gets shared; it stays protected, and allows you to really focus on innovation.
Digital labor platform. I had not personally heard that phrase before. That really brings it to life in terms of what sort of the opportunity is just creating efficiencies for an organization. There's at least three sort of Formstack and Agentforce tie-ins that I'll recap, and then we'll get to John to bring this document automation use case to life. From a Formstack perspective, we have launched an Agentforce app on the App Exchange that powers what we're calling the formless form. What's a formless form? A digital front door, if you will. Being able to take the value of Forms for Salesforce, which is quickly building a data collection interface off of the Salesforce data model, usually encompassing pre-fill, and being able to throw that at an Agentforce agent to then power a data collection experience. You could imagine you're on a website for a healthcare provider. You're a student on a university website, and maybe being asked for some information that is actually being fed from the Forms for Salesforce form, and then feeding into a pre-filled form, maybe to go deeper. So maybe going from a little bit of information to steer you, and then a patient registration Forms for Salesforce form to kind of go through the full experience, or a student that then goes into a deeper student application experience. So a couple of examples there for what the formless form is. Second example, this one actually got brought to us just a couple weeks ago by a Salesforce SE that opened my eyes again up to the kind of the compatibility of the use cases. But here's how this one went. This one was using Agentforce as a content creation mechanism, coupling that with humans who are reviewing and surfacing that information on a pre-filled Forms for Salesforce form. The particular use case for this one was a huge global consumer goods company that is looking to make their marketing briefing process more efficient. So traditionally, marketing briefings involve a lot of research, a lot of discovery, a lot of groundwork, and they're looking to make that way more efficient with Agentforce. So Agentforce can be a mechanism for sourcing and creating content. It could even couple with Data Cloud, and that data can save into a Salesforce org. Well, the strength of Forms for Salesforce is pre-filling information off of Salesforce org and exposing that either in an authenticated environment like Experience Cloud or even an unauthenticated user. So you could have these marketing contributors that are starting with a pre-filled form, and now imagine the brief has already been written for them in a sense by Agentforce, and now it's a review, verify, update experience by that marketer. And what I personally love about this is you're combining AI with the human touch. So it's saying like AI isn't perfect. We're not expecting it to just be done. It has to be reviewed, modified, edited, changed by that individual marketer. Once they're happy with that, they submit the form, it saves into Salesforce, it gets reviewed further, by their approval process. And then when it's all finished, a final document generated by Formstack Documents and distributed out, to their marketing partners. So I actually want to pick Matt and John's brain on that use case a little later today to see kind of what other ideas that might spark. The third one, and the one that John's going to get into, is how Agentforce can be used, as a front end, save data to Salesforce, and then trigger Formstack Documents as that, document automation product within Salesforce, and then even also flowing into a digital signature process. So for those for those viewers not familiar with what we're covering, this will involve, we call it Formstack Documents for Salesforce. It's on the App Exchange. The second example here, Formstack Forms for Salesforce on the App Exchange. And the first example is the Formstack Agentforce package. So there's 3 different Formstack offerings on the App Exchange, which tie to these 3 use cases. All right. John's about to be the star of the show, but before we get to John, Matt, do you want to just, I guess, comment on anything I just shared in terms of your spinner view on the use cases, and then we'll let John open it up to a live POC demo that he's built to share.
First of all, it's cool, Zach, as you're talking, just things are happening so quickly and new ideas are being sparked. So hearing this sort of marketing brief concept that you mentioned and working with a Salesforce SE, first time I've heard that use case. My point is there are use cases that are popping up left and right. I think we're really going to see, as it relates to some of the Formstack technologies, I think we're really going to see digital agents take on a big role in sort of gathering the data necessary to fill out forms and documents for humans, and even in the example that you brought up, authoring some of that content. And then beyond that, I see agents really sort of orchestrating the whole approval and signature process, and also maybe bridging the gap to other workflow steps that are occurring after a document is signed. to help make things run more smoothly end to end. Today, a lot of enterprises are relying on humans to bridge those gaps and to understand the process and know what to do next. So being able to rely on agents to do that at scale, that's super exciting to me because it means less manual work for us and faster results.
For sure. For sure. John, receiver, you're up next. So what we asked John to do today was, again, bring it to life. Let's see the real world example. Let's see kind of the types of POCs that 10K can build and is built using Agentforce, using Formstack. John, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. And great conversation there. And just to kind of preface, Matt and I have been talking to our customers a lot about, how do they envision leveraging AI? How do they see Agentforce playing a role in their organization? And time and again, we keep hearing kind of the similar theme that is, if we can figure out how to leverage agents to kind of augment our existing teams to handle more kind of routine, lower value tasks and free up, our team to focus on kind of more high value tasks, then that's where we can really start to see benefit, and really start to see a return on the investment. And so this solution that I'm going to show you guys today is really kind of focused on the ability for an agent to handle a lot of those kind of more routine tasks, things like data collection, things like document generation, and kind of moving a process along, getting someone to sign a document, managing that whole process, to free up staff to kind of focus on other things. So what you're seeing here is a Salesforce site. Again, this is just for demo purposes. This could obviously be an external facing website. It doesn't really matter, but obviously you have the ability to kind of bring in Agentforce, into a chat experience. And this particular use case is focused on a new patient, scheduling an appointment for a doctor visit. Again, this certainly has applicability in the healthcare industry, but could be applied more broadly if there's any kind of process where you're intaking customer information and then kind of taking downstream action to get them, involved as a customer, that sort of thing. So I'll kind of go through the process of filling this out. And Agentforce is, providing a lot of these back and forth instructions and data collection based on an underlying Formstack form that's kind of providing those instructions to know what so the agent knows exactly what information it needs to collect.
So that's fantastic, John. And that's the Agentforce app I alluded to on the App Exchange from Formstack.
Exactly. And again, this is obviously kind of a workflow specific for patient intake, but could really be applied more broadly.
Yep. So back and forth, you're asking those questions right there on website and
Exactly.
portal. I mean, man, me as a patient, what a step forward from, a patient experience I might be getting, in the old days, so to speak.
Exactly. And, what's happening behind the scenes is, now as a customer, or, as a new patient, there's downstream process that needs to happen, right? So, I need to, maybe fill out a form or sign a form, that sort of thing. Agentforce can handle all that work so that there's really no human interaction that needs to take place. So kind of playing the role of the patient now, I just get this email directly from Agentforce that I need to sign a document. And again, this is where we're bringing Formstack documents and sign into the equation. And the agents handled a lot of kind of the document merge, adding all the necessary information onto the form in the right place, et cetera. And so I can kind of go through the process of, signing this document, very similar to any document signing experience that you have. And great. So that's now signed. I might go back and tell the agent, form is signed. And now the agent can, kind of switch to, okay, now we're going to go ahead and schedule you. So now what it's doing is it's queuing, it's querying data from a Salesforce scheduling app, but this could be applied in third-party scheduling apps. It notices that there's a certain doctor that is currently accepting new patients at the moment, and there's that doctor's availability. So then, if I respond as a patient, then I can actually schedule that. Get that appointment scheduled. All that can be integrated with your scheduling platform, whether that's in Salesforce or whether that's an external scheduling platform, doesn't really matter. And then kind of from an internal administrative perspective, I will always have record of that patient, and I can, and then the documents that get signed, that flows back into the system. So there's really no human interaction that needs to take place here. Just confirmation that they've signed the form and that they've gotten scheduled. So
And
a
John,
really powerful way to just kind of, again, augment what can be time consuming tasks for staff, to free them up for kind of more high value things, that they could be doing. So
John, you went through that so elegantly. I want to even take a minute just to show again just how powerful that was. So what John's pulled up here, that is a Formstack document template. So the information from the Agentforce chat saved to Salesforce triggers that document to be generated, routed for signature in real time. Now that could be one or more signature steps, and then saved right back to Salesforce. So all that happened almost instantly behind the scenes in what John was showing there. You've also got, there's a page 2 there, John, you can show, which is the full like digital signature certificate. So everything's timestamped, date stamped, logged. That, this product is used for, millions of insurance policies and contracts, every single year. All that happened behind the scenes as well. Wow. I mean, I can also envision that can also be a sales rep facing interface, Agentforce, the work that sales reps go into to generate contracts. You can imagine, right, it being a internal facing prompt to help speed up the generation of any type of contract, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Really, it's obviously we used a kind of a new patient intake process here, but it can really be applied, as I mentioned, to any process where you have, you're kind of bringing in data and need to do something with that data, be it, get something signed, get a document created, et cetera. The agent itself can orchestrate all of that process. So it's pretty powerful, and it opens up a lot of new ways to kind of manage your customer experience. So,
Matt, what you mentioned, just ideas constantly flowing. What ideas are sparking from seeing that demo from John?
Well, John, I think really is just scratching the surface of what's possible here, especially around document automation. Digital agents can just do so many things. They can interact with customers and prospects on their own, which I think we saw an example of there. Beyond that, they can, like, in a conversational format, really like ask questions to understand needs, and then based on those responses, generate really everything from downstream sales quotes to healthcare forms to mortgage applications. You name it. The potential is really huge here.
Yeah, and what I'm kind of just fascinated by and stuck on is just the pairing of AI with these like practical Formstack solutions, and document automation is one, and then the pre-filled form example too. So it's like pairing these new concepts of AI automation with sort of the fundamentals of pre-filling information for a human, or automating a document that is sent to a human. There's just tremendous opportunity to bring value to your business. And John, a couple times you said like things like kind of removing the grunt work or removing the mundane, and overall, like one of the FormStack big themes right now is for customers is, automate the mundane, so you can do your magic as a business, and this is really bringing that to life and bringing this to a whole nother level. I want to open it up for questions. There is a questions pane where people can drop in questions. I've seen some already come in. Keep those coming. We've got John and Matt for a few more minutes here. So yeah, keep the questions coming, and let's see what we've got. John, Matt, I'll tee these up, and I'll let you guys kind of fight for who wants to answer. Just first question is around. We see the healthcare example. Like, what are some other examples for other industries that that we should be thinking about?
Yeah.
John,
what are your ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, we showed the healthcare example. We've heard this a lot from healthcare customers. Kind of that's a laborious process. But again, if just any process that where you're kind of maybe intaking data from a customer and then doing any downstream processing, the possibilities are endless. Agentforce is pretty powerful in its way to kind of orchestrate that whole process. Figure out when it needs to go, get information from an external system. Like I showed in the scheduling application, that information was being fed from external scheduling system. It can do all that kinds of things. So it kind of reduces a lot of that need for, if you think about it from a person working that process perspective, doing the kind of the age-old swivel chair, right? It can orchestrate that and kind of do that process on its own. So. Yeah, that's how I would answer that. It's really kind of any process, that has a lot of those kind of routine tasks.
John, this is an interesting one. And what sort of timeframes are Agentforce projects is the question. I'm sure it's a wide range, but how should people think about the time frame involved in an Agentforce implementation or project?
Yeah. That's a great question, and there is an element of it does depend to that. However, one of the things that we're really focused on with our customers is to try to get them to kind of hone in on specific use cases that they see that could be high value to their business, and really kind of focus on those use cases specifically. If you can kind of drill down and agree, like, hey, here's the 1, 2, 3 use cases that we think agents could do, jobs that agents could perform, then we can really accelerate things, because there's a lot that Force can do out of the box. There's a lot, obviously, that SIs like us can bring to the table to customize things. But we're seeing projects run 4 to 6 weeks if we can kind of get to that use case very quickly. So
it's occurring to me that that's probably a good tee up to something else I know you guys prepared, which is the 10K Agentforce Activator program. Let me pull up. We got a slide on that. I'll let you guys use that slide to kind of recap. So yeah, what is the 10K Agentforce Activator program? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I think the way I like to describe this is really at 10K, we're here to support you no matter where you are in your AI journey with Salesforce. So if you're just getting started and need help brainstorming use cases and understanding feasibility of some of the ideas that you have, we offer a free discovery workshop to help you explore the possibilities, right? And then our Agentforce Activator program comes in once you have a use case in mind. This program can really guide you from design to proof of concept to then a production pilot, and then support you beyond that. We are happy to be and proud to be a member of Salesforce's Agentforce Partner Network. And with the experience of our community and the size of our community, we guarantee that every one of our customer engagements is led by a certified Agentforce specialist. So you're always in good hands.
Fantastic. And then to recap, the FormStack, parts and pieces here that we've discussed today. 3 Formstack listings if you search Formstack on the App Exchange. The traditional forms for Salesforce is the pre-filled web forms product native to Salesforce. Formstack Documents for Salesforce is the document generation and digital signature that John showed you, sort of near instantly generating that document off of the Agentforce chat. And then the newest Agentforce app is to couple the form for Salesforce form with Agentforce, also in the way that John showed for the chat experience, and that's called the Formstack Agentforce extension. We're all, Zach, John, Matt, quite accessible. You'll find us all on LinkedIn if you want to continue the conversation there. 10K website is 10kview.com. Formstack is, of course, formstack.com, in addition to finding us on the App Exchange. Wow, great discussion. Matt and John, can't thank you guys enough. Tremendous Formstack partners, tremendous community of Salesforce and Formstack experts. We hope everyone enjoyed this discussion and content, and looking forward to see where everyone takes this opportunity for AI coupled with document automation and pre-filled forms for driving efficiencies and opportunities for your business throughout the year.